Y'all, the time has come. Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty and the Frizz. My name is Kara. Ooh, whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. This video has taken a lot of work, a lot of rearranging and reorganizing. Today I am ranking all 26 of my Pat McGrath palettes, and I'm going to be inserting some swatches so you can see everything. I'm excited to do this. This is my first Pat McGrath ranking video. So if you want to see what I think about all the palettes I have, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think, and definitely consider subscribing and joining the community because I would love to have you back. All right, let's get started. Before I get started, I recently just hit 2,000 subscribers and I want to thank you all. This is not something I really saw myself doing, not in a million years. When I started, I didn't know where it was going to go. I'm loving the ride. Whether you've been here with me from the beginning or you've just recently joined my little Frizz family, welcome back. Thank you guys for just rolling with me and supporting me and just hanging out with me and really making this community really fun for me to be a part of. It really, really means a lot. So I don't want to get all mushy, but I, in a way, still can't believe it. I was like, it's going to go back down, you know, because the numbers fluctuate. So I'm like, I'm really thankful, and I hope you all can feel that, because I truly am, and I don't know, it just means a lot. I went like this, like so y'all could see me putting my hand on my heart, but my heart was down here and it ended up being my chest, and I was like, it's too much. Okay, so we are continuing to celebrate Mama Pat in a big way. This video is really exciting for me because, as I said, I haven't done a ranking video before. Just a bit about me and Mama Pat. I've accumulated 26 palettes in a year. I am ready to rank these babies now. Let me explain how I'm ranking these so that you kind of see where I'm coming from. I have 26 palettes. 8 of them are the big motherships. I'm going to rank them by themselves, and the reason that I'm going to do that is because I know that there are some people that don't really fool with Pat McGrath's smaller palettes or quads. You know, they're really concerned about the motherships and which one, you know, they think is better for them. And some people focus on at least getting those first if they're trying to acquire a Pat McGrath collection. Now, everything else is going to be a mixture of minis and quads. Everything that is not one of her 8 motherships is going to be in another category. There are 18 of those that I'm going to rank together. Then I will rank the 8 motherships. Hopefully that makes sense. We should just go ahead and get started. Y'all know, try not to go over 30 minutes, maybe 35. I'm going to try to keep it cute and concise because I'm not trying to hold y'all all day. Now, before I go to palette 18, don't forget, if you post any of the Pat McGrath looks, don't forget to tag me, Beauty and the Frizz, on Instagram. Would love to put you in my stories. I feel like everyone's really enjoying this week, and I just think it's so cool that we can celebrate Pat McGrath in this way, and it just shows me, you know, like how much she is truly loved, because I know I love her. Coming in at number 18 is the Celestial Divinity Quad Floor Fantasia. And here's the quad right here. The reason why I have this quad in last place is because it's just not deep enough for me. I like to have like one deep shade that, you know, you can use to give some drama, smoke out the eye, and this quad just doesn't have it. It's, you know, more pastel. I did create a beautiful look with it, but it's just not my favorite. It's not something I would really gravitate to, and I'm honestly not sure the next time I'm going to use it. The swatches, of course, are beautiful. It's just not my color story or style. Some of these might surprise you guys, so let me know what you're thinking. Am I out of line? All right, number 17, Ritualistic Rose, another quad. This came out, I want to say 2019, I think. I don't know when a lot of her things came out because I just got them all at the same time. And here's the quad. Again, everything that Pat McGrath releases, I think, is beautiful. What I don't care for about this quad is that they're all special shades. I know. This is a great palette to put in conjunction with another palette. Grabbing this on its own, you can't really make a lot of looks. And that can be the beauty of the quad, but it's just not my favorite quad. I don't know, is it that I'm just all pinked out? The shades are gorgeous. The swatches are beautiful. I just have palettes by Pat McGrath with a similar color story that I like a lot better than this one. So that's why this is number 17. Okay, y'all, number 16, don't get mad. Nocturnal Nirvana. This is another quad. She released it with Ritualistic Rose, and there was one other one. Here is the palette. Don't get me wrong, this was beautiful. And out of the 3 quads that she released together, this was the most unique. I don't like this purple shade. I don't know if mine has dried out or what, but I just feel like it's super dry. I do really love the green. The green is absolutely beautiful, and so is the blue. So I do like that, but as a whole, this quad is never something that I am gravitating towards for whatever reason. And I know people love this quad, but I just don't. At number 15, keeping with the release of the quads, is Iconic Illumination. Now, this is the one I like the most of the 3. And here it is. I just like the color story a lot better. As you can see, like with the swatches, they are gorgeous. This is a much more wearable everyday look. And I just think the colors in this quad are really beautiful. Kind of reminds you of fall. It's just really pretty. I love this one, actually. Trying to think. See, and this is what happens. This is why the video has taken me so long to make, because as I'm looking at them again, I'm like, is this really number 15? Number 14 is the Rose Decadence 6-pan palette. I think by this time, we were all pinked out. We were just tired. Again, beautiful color story, but this was a 6-pan that we really didn't need. I was really hoping that Pat McGrath was going to take a different spin on the Divine Rose concept and maybe focus on other parts of the rose, like the stem, or just the darker aspect of the rose, like roses having thorns, you know, in order to get to the beautiful flower. I was just thinking this would have been a great opportunity for her to do some greens and browns. And then she came out with this, which also brings me to the one quad I don't have, which is Eternal Eden. And I don't have that one again because I'm just all pinked out. Because I have everything else, I probably will get it eventually, but I'm just not in a rush. I don't know. I just feel like it was unnecessary. Yeah, just didn't really frost my cookies. You know what I mean? Palette number 13 is the Mothership Sublime Golden Opulence. Now, I believe I got this once it went on sale for $39. The shades do look similar to some of her other shades. As you can see, it's still a really beautiful color story. This came out with the Chinese New Year. And, you know, this is a basic palette. You know, if you want to have a little neutral look, if you like pink, but you don't want too much pink, I think this is great for that. It's a very wearable palette. You can do the bright gold if you like for, you know, something special. I like it more than Rose Decadence just because it's a little less pink, but at the same time, it doesn't stand out the way some of my other 6-pans and quads do. So that is why it is where it is on my list. Number 12 is my very first Pat McGrath palette, which is Platinum Bronze. And here it is. I just did a video earlier this week showcasing this palette. This color story was one that I didn't really appreciate when I bought this palette. I just wanted a Pat McGrath palette. but as my makeup taste has changed and evolved, I think it's really pretty. I think it's a palette that is really nice for every day. Just kind of classic neutral colors, so you can't really go wrong with anything that you make. But to me, this palette is a bit cool. Even though I like the look that I got, I gravitate more towards warm tones. So that's why this one is number 12. Number 11 is La Vie in Rose. It's a beautiful purple pink berry color story with a hint of gold. If you like pinks and purples, this would have probably been a great one for you. I think that she's changed her formula over the years. I don't know, it's not my favorite pink by her, the way that it feels. I need to play with this a little bit more because I haven't used it in a while, and I'd love to see, you know, if it still performs well. Okay, now we're getting down to it. Number 10 is the Celestial Divinity Quad in Risque Rose. I wasn't really thinking too much about this palette, but as I went to swatch it again and compared it to, you know, the other ones that are a little further down on the list. So here's the quad, and my favorite shade in here is the shade Lavendering, and that is that purple shimmer. It is beautiful, and she named that shade after the Lavendering lip gloss, which is one of my favorite glosses by her. The other shade that is really beautiful is the shade Life on Mars, which is like a beautiful metallic pink. And you know, just putting them all together. Now the pink in this quad is nice. I really like how this feels. It is a bit creamy, and of course she has Mink Noir, which is that matte brown. The quads that she released in 2020 were nice because they did have that matte shade, but at the same time, many people didn't like that the quads didn't have the special shade. So, you know, it's kind of like what your preference is. I think she had a new formula in these quads. I don't know if it was the creamy matte. It's kind of reminding me a little of Natasha Denona in this pink. And then this shimmer formula is a bit different too. So I like that she, you know, had that different formula in these quads, and I like this one. All right, y'all. Number 9. This one has snuck its way into my life because I did not know she was coming out with this. This is Venus and Floor's Luxe Quad Voyeuristic Vixen. Was really surprised at how much I like this quad. Now, I believe that this is the same formula or very close to the one that we just saw in Rose Risque. A lot of people really like the pink special shade, which is Rose Fire Nectar. And if you're used to working with indie brand makeup, this shade would not be a problem for you. Some people complained that it was flaky and there was fallout. But if you are used to indie makeup, this shade is no problem, and I'm sure you appreciate the pink to gold flip in that shade. I also really like Twilight Bronze, which is like a metallic taupe. Really pretty shades in this palette. Great neutral looks. I love having the variety of textures in my eyeshadows. That's why these newer quads are more favored than the older quads with just the special shades. So that is Voyeuristic Vixen. Okay, y'all, now we're really getting down to like some, I don't even know what to say, just some Pat McGrath greatness with these next ones. Okay, so let's go to number 8. Number 8 is another quad, and this is Interstellar Icon. Honey, this quad is so beautiful. I love this quad. It is just Now there is a repeat shade in here, which is the shade Blue Blood, which is from Decadence. And Blue Blood is actually like such a gorgeous shade. I don't know what you call this shade, but it is beautiful. You have your Divine Dahlia, which is a satin shade, and then you have Hypnotique, which is that beautiful metallic blue. It's like a blue purple. I love this quad, and out of the 3 that came out for the holiday, this one to me is the best one. It's got that little bit of grunge to it, and just no matter how you combine these shades, you're gonna get an interstellar look. Like, you really will. Hey you guys, as I was editing the video, I realized that I made a mistake with one of the shade names that I was talking about, and I was talking about the shade Blue Blood, but I was actually praising the shade Divine Dahlia. And this is Divine Dahlia right here, and this one is Blue Blood, which is the repeat that is in Decadence. So let's just go ahead and just appreciate both of these gorgeous shades real fast, because I don't even remember what I was trying to say, but as I was editing, I was like, no, I don't think that shade is right. So here we have Divine Dahlia, and this one is actually Blue Blood, and they are both beautiful. But I really wanted to correct myself because there's a huge difference in these shades, and I was like, no. But you know, I just get really excited about eyeshadow, so I just was talking. So there are those 2 shades, and just wanted to correct that. So it's accurate. Okay. I'm about to make a swap. Okay, and this is what I've been doing since last week. All right, I'm gonna make a change. Game time decision number 7. We are going with Metamorphosis. I wonder if did I make the right decision. This was the final Pat McGrath palette I needed to complete my collection. I have a special place for Metamorphosis because of that, because I was talking to Dr. Ash, and this is why I am making the game time decision. What I didn't realize is that I think all of the shades but one are repeat shades. And so because of that, I am realizing that I've got these shades in other places, like Sterling. This is the silver that I always swatch from Decadence, and I say, I can't see. Gold Standard, which is in several palettes. I believe bronze and copper are in other palettes, and smoked amethyst is definitely in one of the Star Wars palettes, and as well as the Celestial Divinity. So I think this shade is the only one that's new, or at the time. And she's got some shades like this. So I just decided to move it. You can just make a beautiful look with just this one. And that's why this one is as high up on the list as it is, because I love that formula where you can just use all of the shadows the way you want them and they perform well. So I still love this one though. Number 6 is going to be Galactic Gold from the Star Wars collection. This palette is so pretty, y'all. Okay, first of all, so the shade Bronze and Gold Standard are in Metamorphosis. So you see that those repeat shades are there, but who cares? The Corruption shade, that is this red to grungy gold flip shade, is a great shade. You've got Galactic Gold, which is beautiful. I know people get tired of Pat McGrath and her golds, but she does golds, okay? She does the golds. They give what they're supposed to give. Just saying. You've got Electron, another duochrome. I don't know what else to say about it, but I just think this palette is just, I think it's gorgeous. I love the purple in this one. The purple in this one is called Violet Void. You can actually see like glitter particles. I don't know if they can be seen on the camera, but those glitter particles are so pretty, but they're not a chunky glitter, and I think that's what makes that shade beautiful. And followed by Galactic Gold is the other Star Wars palette, which is the Dark Galaxy palette. Here's the palette here. So, you know, if you like those deep, like those berries, purples, I just think this palette is such a pretty one. And, you know, you do have a orangey, coppery type shade to go along with it. I just love how with Pat McGrath palettes, I just feel like they flow. even though sometimes you don't think it would. Like, they flow, and her shades, they just layer really, really well. So we're now on number 4. Number 4 is the Mothership Sublime Mini Palette, Bronze Ambition. So here's Bronze Ambition, and I always feel like this is the opposite of Platinum Bronze, which was this one. It's like the warm tone version of it. When I tell you, just close your eyes and choose some shades, that's this palette. Close your eyes and choose some shades. I think it gives you like kind of a natural look. You can make it deep, you can smoke it out if you want to, or not. You can do just one and done looks, like just those, you know, those bronzy goddess glowy looks. I just feel like you can do with these, especially these shimmers. They're just so beautiful. They're just so fine. That's the word I'm looking for. And the brown is so deep and beautiful, but it's got these glitter flecks in it. I think it pretty much goes with everything. So if you don't like warm tones, I could see that maybe this palette would not be something you like. But if you do, I'm sure this is on Mercari. You can almost find anything on Mercari. So again, that's where I got a good portion of my palettes from. That is number 4. So palette number 3 is the Mothership Subliminal Dark Star. Here is Dark Star. Now what I love about this palette is that it's both cool and warm. The majority of the palette is cool because you've got the gray, you've got that deep, deep gray. I don't know if it's necessarily black. And then you've got a very deep, almost like a deep purpley brown. And then you have that beautiful blue purple shade, very similar to the one that's in the Interstellar Icon quad. I think this one's really unique. You don't even have to use the blue if you don't want to, or if it's too much. And I just love this one. I love it. I think it's a lot different than the other ones. And she still incorporated her gold, you know, because she does like to put golds in, but she still kept it kind of cool and dark. So I just think this palette is interesting and inspiring. You can make some really different looks with this palette. We have 2 palettes left, and to be honest, the palette that I'm about to show was my original number 1, but then as you'll see at the end, there was one palette I added before that one, which made this one number 2. So palette number 1 for me is the mini palette Bronze Temptation. This one, I just think this is a superb palette. Now you have the Corruption shade here that we have seen in the Star Wars palette. But yeah, we have the Corruption shade here. It's got this beautiful green here. And then you've got your neutrals. So again, you have a palette where, you know, you can make, I always call this my Christmas palette because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a holiday palette, but it doesn't have to be that. I mean, you've got this palette where you can do kind of like a grungy, like green, like if you took this, the brown and this little camel color and the green, I could see that making a really beautiful look. Or even just taking those 2 mattes with the Corruption shade. I mean, any of the shades really, they just really go together well. That's why I like this 6-pan. I think it's just pretty unique. I just like how it was put together. So that leaves one more palette left, you guys. The palette that I decided to include at the very, very last minute because I didn't know where to put it. I didn't want to put it with my Motherships because it wasn't a classic Mothership, but it is a big palette. So my number 1 is the Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity. I have a lot of appreciation for this palette. From what I have learned is that so many people missed out on the Star Wars collection and they really wanted it. And that's when I was really new to Pat McGrath and it had sold out so fast. I wasn't really trying to get it. I didn't know anything about it. It sucks when you want something and it's gone or it's discontinued. So when she came out with Celestial Divinity, and you know, I remember talking, that's when Dr. Ash and I like first became friends, and we were like really speculating, and we're like, these are the Star Wars palettes. These are the palettes. Like, you know, we were so like happy to figure that out. Let's take a look. You've got the 6 shades in Dark Galaxy. You've got the 6 shades in Galactic Gold. You've got the 6 new shades. I mean, it's just a really, really beautiful palette. And I think it is great for pretty much any purpose. Even a neutral look if you want to. Taking this brown and maybe the bronze or one of these golds. This palette is travel friendly. You know, as much as we love Mama Pat's packaging, I don't know anybody that's like real excited to have to take a mothership somewhere. No, because we want to keep our motherships like nice. This is the palette that I'm gonna throw in the suitcase. You know, it's light. It's nice that the pan sizes are small. There's so much variety. And you know what I really appreciate about this palette the most and why it's #1 is because for so many people, this was their first introduction to Pat McGrath. So many people have wanted to try Pat McGrath. And when she came out with this palette at the price point she did, and it included the Star Wars shades, $79, 18 Mama Pat shades. I get there wasn't a Blitz shade in here or an astral shade, like those special shades. I do wish that she did include one, just because this might have been someone's first and last Pat McGrath palette. You know what I mean? A lot of people got put on to Pat McGrath because she came out with such an affordable palette. So that's my #1. I gotta leave it at that. Let me know what you think about the ranking so far. So that was 18 palettes. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into ranking these motherships 1 through 8. I wonder if y'all can guess which one is my favorite, because my favorite recently changed. Recently, like today. It recently changed today, actually. All right, y'all, let's get into the next part of the ranking with the big motherships. Okay, y'all, I am back to rank the 8 mothership palettes. I cannot tell you, so the 18 palettes that I did were easier than these 8. I don't know why it's like so much, but my ranking has changed like so much because I've been working with these palettes so much lately. And so anyway, when I think about these palettes and how I rank them, I don't know, it's just how I'm feeling at the time. With that being said, I love all of these palettes. None of the palettes are bad palettes. And just want to go ahead and say that. I'm sure you all know that by now, how I feel about Pat McGrath. So doing this ranking is not easy because like something has to be last and something has to be first. And you know, coming in at #8 is Divine Rose. As I swatch this and you see the swatches, this is a beautiful palette, but when I look at it, it just doesn't excite me. But when you look at the swatches, it is gorgeous. It really is. And I was actually thinking about moving it up, but I'm just gonna keep it where it is because that's what my gut said. What I will say is like a couple of the shades in here are really favorites of mine. I mentioned Valoria in my last video. I mentioned Rose Dusk. The special shades are beautiful. I've also said that this makes a great bridal palette or even a great palette to be a guest at a wedding. It is beautiful. I think what I'd like to do is play with it a little bit more because when I bought this palette, I was still learning a lot and still am, but about eyeshadows and neutrals versus color and just appreciating a palette like this is not something that I was doing at the time. So I would love to play with this a little bit more and we'll see what happens the next time I do a ranking video. But for now, it is #8. Okay, #7. I really struggled with this one, but I'm gonna have to say Mothership 1. The reason that this is #7 is because it took me so long to use the palette. And I know how I am with eyeshadow. Like if there's something that I want to use, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta use it. For some reason, I mean, it's taken me months and months to use this palette. As you can see, it leans more cool. Now the standout is obviously Blitz Blue. Blitz Blue is one of the shadows that were in my favorites that I would keep, because I think it's really a beautiful blue and just unique, because Pat McGrath doesn't do a whole lot of blues. So it's worth noting that shade. There are some other beautiful shades in here, especially Lilac Dusk. I really, really like this shade, but overall, I gravitate more towards warm tones. That is why this is number 7. Moving on to 6th place. I told you I'm gonna roll through these. We have the Mothership Bronze Seduction. I know, y'all, this is just terrible, but I don't know, something had to be 6th place. I know it's gonna sound contradictory, but this Rose Gold 005 is one of my favorite special shades that she has. It is so pretty, and you'll see it in the swatches. And also Extreme Aubergine, the deep matte shade, is one of my favorites. And I know that we all really love VR Fire Opal. The reason that this is number 6 is because there are a couple other palettes that have these kind of warm, bronzy wearable shades in them that I like a lot better. And so that's why this is number 6. But this is beautiful. When I first discovered Pat McGrath, this was the Mothership that had recently released, and I was like, $125? Like, what is in these shades? But it's gonna stay here for now. Next time it could be different, but that's where we are. Oof, oh no, I just broke my string. In 5th place, and this may surprise you, it's gonna be Sublime Mothership 2. Don't really hear a whole lot about this palette at all. I never hear anybody talk about Sublime at all. But Sublime is just that. So the Rose Dusk shade that's in Divine Rose is in here. We've got Blitz Emerald in here, that green here, beautiful. Then you have like Bronze 005 and VR Nectar, which are beautiful special shades. You will see those in the swatches. The Skin Show shade is gorgeous. Yeah, Copper Tone, iconic. I really like this palette, and I'm not sure why it doesn't get the recognition that I feel like it deserves. I really do like Sublime a lot. So that's number 5. I'm gonna roll through these. Okay, in 4th place, we have the Mothership 8 Divine Rose 2. When I first started my channel, this release had just been announced. I was really excited about it. This palette does not disappoint. The shade VR Sextraterrestrial is a beautiful shade. It's a standout here, as well as Naked Blush for me are the 2 shades that I absolutely love in this palette. If you like pinks, this is a palette for you. You can still make some looks that are a bit toned down, but VR Sextraterrestrial was really special because it is that duochrome shade, and it's a really good duochrome, you know, flipping from that pink to green. Rose Seduction, which is this hot pink, nice hot pink matte or kind of satin matte formula. So really happy to have this palette. Now this is where we kind of go into a swap here, because if you know me, you probably know which Pat McGrath palette that I have said is my favorite, and I've been saying it for a long time up until recently. And I have swapped my 1st place and my 3rd place. 2nd place is kind of forever probably going to be the same, at least for now. So number 3, my 3rd place is going to the Mothership 3, Subversive. Subversive was my 1st place. It is another one of these motherships that I feel like are truly unique. I think in some of the motherships you see shades that may overlap or be a bit similar to other shades, just little slight differences, but not in Subversive. Subversive is in a league of its own, almost how Subliminal is in a league of its own. And I think the difference between Subversive and Subliminal for me is that Subversive has shades that when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to wear this like right now. You know what I mean? So as you can see, this palette, it's got that grungy vibe that I really like. And pretty much anything with that type of grunge tone is going to be something that I am going to be a big fan of. Gigabyte and Night Creature, you know, I always mention those two shades. These two special shades are beautiful. This is a palette for creativity, for drama, for dark looks, you know. I think this one is truly special, but I've fallen in love with another one. So right now this is going to be in third place, and it may one day move back to first. But for now, that's who we're going to keep, Subversive. And I felt so bad moving it in my little, I have the little, it's like a book holder that has all the palettes. And I felt so bad moving it to third. I was like, I'm so sorry. So in second place, this has always been my second favorite, and it's Decadence. Decadence is just so special. It's so special. It is just that metallic formula that Pat McGrath has that I really like. You know, the shimmers perform like mattes. And this is another palette where you can make some really special looks, some deep looks, some grungy looks. And I love the two blues in this palette, and I'm not a huge fan of blue eyeshadow, but I love this one here, this like kind of like a navy blue, and this other metallic blue. As you'll see in the swatches, they're just really nice metallics. And I know some of the shades are repeat shades. I don't know if all of them are or not, but the combination of these shades in one palette just really worked for me. I got this palette for $76. I don't know if somebody just didn't know what was going on, but I knew what was going on, and I was like, so I'm so thankful to have this one and have the Star Wars version of it. It's just a very special palette. It's got a couple of really special shades. You all know which palette I have not mentioned, and this actually really surprises me. So as y'all know, my new number one is gonna be Midnight Sun. This is the Mothership 6. Decadence is Mothership 4. I don't think I mentioned that. I don't know. I just started to change my mind recently, you know, about Subversive, because I really like grungy and earth tones, and I just don't think I really gave Midnight Sun a whole lot of attention. And when I started to see it on sale again, it just made me pull it out like, is it on sale because like people don't like it? I remember seeing some reviews. People just weren't really wowed by it, but don't sleep on Midnight Sun. If you were able to snag it for the sale price, the $87.50 at Sephora, it's $94 on Pat McGrath's website. This palette is bomb. This shade right here, Vermilion Venom, gorgeous. Wicked Envy, gorgeous. Blood Moon 005, beautiful special shade. The purple in here, which, you know, if you don't like that purple, I mean, if you cover up this purple, I mean, you've got a nice earthy palette. I don't know, but lately this has been like speaking to my soul. I keep saying earthy. I don't know what else to say, because that's exactly what it reminds me of. It's just a very earthy palette. You can do drama, you can do neutral. I am just so excited about feeling really inspired by this palette, and I'm so grateful to have it. I don't know, it just makes me so happy. And it's just funny how your taste in things can evolve and change over time. It's like the more and more I look at it, I'm like, this for me is an everyday palette. And at the same time that it's everyday, to me it's not boring. Forward to really playing around with this a lot more. So that is it for my Pat McGrath ranking. It has been a long time coming. There was a lot of prep work I did, like aside from just looking at the palette, it's like swatching them and comparing them. I don't know. So I'm excited that I did it, but I'm glad to be done. So tomorrow is going to be Pat McGrath's actual birthday. We are really going to be ending Pat McGrath week in a big way. So myself, Yadi, and Dr. Ash, we are going to be doing a live, and I'm really excited because I have not gone live in a while. My schedule just doesn't really permit it at this time. That's going to be really fun, and I'm so excited. So all right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for taking time and hanging out with me while, you know, I did this ranking, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I would really love to know your thoughts because this will be ever changing. All right, y'all. Well, until I see you tomorrow, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.